You're going to destroy this world.
Not happily.
I'll have to stop you.
I know you will try. It is my fight. You should be more concerned about the Inquisition. Your Inquisition. In stopping the Dragon's Breath, you have prevented an invasion by Qunari forces. With luck, they will return their focus to Tevinter. That should give you a few years of relative peace.
The Qunari said the Inquisition was unknowingly working for agents of Fen-Harel.
I gave no orders.
You led us to Skyhold.
Corypheus should have died unlocking my orb. When he survived, my plans were thrown into chaos. When you survived, I saw the Inquisition as the best hope this world had of stopping him. And you needed a home. Hence, Skyhold.
You gave your orb to Corypheus.
Not directly. My agents allowed the Venatori to locate it. The orb had built up magical energy while I lay unconscious for millennia. I was not powerful enough to open it. The plan was for Corypheus to unlock it, and for the resulting explosion to kill him. Then I would claim the orb. I did not foresee a Tevinter Magister having learned the secret of effective immortality.
What would have happened if Corypheus had died and you had recovered the orb?
I would have entered the Fade using the mark you now bear. Then I would have torn down the veil. As this world burned in the raw chaos, I would have restored the world of my time. The world of the elves.
If you destroyed the veil, wouldn't the false gods be freed?
I had plans.
You'd murder countless people.
Wouldn't you to save your own? You must understand. I awoke in a world where the veil had blocked most people's conscious connection to the Fade. It was like walking through a world of tranquil.
We aren't even people to you.
Not at first. You showed me that I was wrong. Again. That does not make what must come next any easier.
For whatever it's worth, thanks for the castle.
Whatever it's worth, you used it well.
I love that. Like, I love that. Did you sense the sound, the tone in Andy's voice when he's like, "For what it's worth, thanks for the castle." Like, it had this hint of patronization. Like, he was patronizing Solas. I was like, "Oh, that's perfect. That's so perfect."
What's wrong with the Inquisition?
You created a powerful organization, and now it suffers the inevitable fate of such. Betrayal and corruption.
It's not that simple.
Do you know how I discovered the Qunari plot? The plot I disrupted by leading them to your doorstep. The Qunari spies in the Inquisition tripped over my spies in the Inquisition. The Elven Guard who led you to the Qunari body? Who intercepted the servant with the Gatlock barrel? Mine.
Why bother disrupting the Qunari plot if you're going to destroy the world regardless?
You have shown me that there is value in this world, Inquisitor. I take no joy in what I must do.
That doesn't mean you have to do it.
Until that day comes, I would see those recovering from the breach free of the Qun.
Why?
Because I am not a monster. If they must die, I would rather they die in comfort. In any event, it is done.
Andy's still not convinced.
So you let us do your dirty work?
The mistake was yours to fix, Inquisitor.
You control the Eluvians now?
Yes. You remember Briala from Halam Shiral? For a time, she controlled part of the labyrinth. One of my agents was supposed to take it from her, but he did not succeed. I had to override the magic personally. The
I remember
Qunari
that
stumbled upon this
in the
section
book.
independently. With them gone, the Eluvians are now mine.
I remember his agent from, I think I know which agent he's talking about from the book. Mask of the Mask of the Empire, I think.
There's still the matter of the anchor. It's getting worse.
Yes, I'm sorry. And we are almost out of time.
Poor Andy.
The mark will eventually kill you. Drawing you here gave me the chance to save you. At least for now.
If I live, I'm coming to stop you.
I know. Take my hand.
At least there's this respect between the two of them.
I'm
Solas
sorry.
does I do see a lot of respect from Solas,
Live
and
well, while time remains.
as much as his pride probably keeps him from admitting it, Andy does respect Solas too. Even though he doesn't agree with him. He doesn't agree with what Solas is doing. He doesn't agree with the reasoning behind it. Andy's like, I'm sorry, but like in this case, the end doesn't, to Andy, the end doesn't justify the means.
Something must be done, but we cannot lose the Inquisition now. We stand on the brink of war with the Canary.
Yes, because this Solas provoked them in the first place.
We apologize for not informing the summit beforehand. We were concerned.
Of course you were! The Canary spies were inside your organization!
Without our organization, none of us would be here to complain.
No one has forgotten what you have done. But Corypheus is 2 years dead.
If the Inquisition is to continue, it must do so as a legitimate organization, not a glorified mercenary band.
Inquisitor.
I love how nobody in the entire council reacts to the Inquisitor's lost arm. No one. Might be a little bit of a the writer should have caught that a little bit, because I don't know. It just seems like somebody would maybe not necessarily gasp but get all dramatic, but somebody would have reacted to it. All right, so here's the big decision. So again, I kind of explained this with Art's playthrough. Art started out feeling like maybe it's time for the Inquisition to close shop, and then because of recent events with Solas, he's so determined to help Solas and to redeem Solas. And I think Art felt like the Inquisition still needs to be around, because it'll give them the resources that they need to hopefully go against Solas and maybe help him. Andy started off being like, I'm not disbanding the Inquisition. Like, this Inquisition, has been great, and, I'm gonna ride this and gain the benefits of this Inquisition for as long as I can. So yes, it's a little bit of, there's a slightly greedy aspect of Andy wanting to keep the Inquisition, which is why I wanted to have that change for him now that he realizes that Solas is a threat. He believes Solas is a threat to the entire world. He feels like, okay, now we gotta get serious. I think that whatever I need to do whatever I think will stop Solas from doing what he's doing. And he feels like, because Solas knows the Inquisition so well, he knows their strengths and weaknesses, Andy's thinking it would be the greatest benefit for them to end the Inquisition and maybe start something new, break off into some other group that Solas is not familiar with, and Andy thinks that will give him more success at stopping Solas. So both Andy and Art want to stop Solas for different reasons, and they're doing it in different ways. And Andy is arguably dissolving the Inquisition for more noble reasons than what he had before with keeping the Inquisition on. He's matured a little bit in that aspect. It's less greedy for him to keep the Inquisition around. Now he's like, I can't keep the Inquisition up because that's not what's best for the world. He believes it's not what's best for the world, and he has to do what's best for the world, and that is to make up some new organization, some offshoot of the Inquisition to stop Solas. So our work is done. We'll solve this. The Inquisition will be disbanded. Efforts against Solas will be weaker but more secure. We'll solve this ourselves.
You all know what this is. A writ from Divine Justinia authorizing the formation of the Inquisition. We pledge to close the breach, find those responsible, and restore order, with or without anyone's approval. It wasn't a formally authorized treaty that saved Ferelden's people. It wasn't careful diplomacy that ended your inane civil war. It was never about the organization.
You tell him, Andy.
It was about people doing what was necessary. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a world to save. Again.
Nice!
Effective immediately. The Inquisition is disbanded.
Book drop. Book drop. He's like, I have to go save the world. Again! That's totally an Andy response. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I'm going after you next, Cullen. Oh, just you wait. I'm going after you. That's me, the player, not the character. Andy's still with Iron Bull. Me, the player, is like, I'm going after you next, Cullen. There's no black wall, though. It's okay. So that's it. The Inquisition is disbanded. See ya, Dorian. See ya, Kadan. You're coming back, though, right? What a great DLC. What a great way to end this chapter of Andy's adventure. Don't wander off too far, Cullen. I love how the Iron Bull is twice as tall as Andy. Can't get over that. In short order, the Inquisition was disbanded. Some were relieved to see the unpredictable organization dismantled. Notice how there's been a patch recently that has made it so that you can finally make it slower. Others refer to remember the Inquisition's good works and the many lives it had saved. The thing advances a lot slower now, which is really good. Those who had served returned to their former lives, knowing they had stopped a great evil from destroying the world. I can't click. It'll just advance on its own. And hoping that the peace for which they had fought remained once the Inquisition was gone. With the dragon's breath disrupted, and any hope of a swift victory dashed, the Qunari retreated back to the north. Few knew what debates were waged in Parvalin, but not long after the Exalted Council, the Qunari launched new attacks against Tevinter. Their aggression caught the already unstable Imperium off guard. Tevinter was soon mired in a war many feared could spread across Thedas. Cassandra continued her reign as Divine Victoria, working to ensure that the Inquisition's disbanding did not allow new enemies to rise. Her efforts were successful, and, for a time, southern Thedas saw peace. You go, Cassandra. You go. The way she smiled down at Andy when he was giving his speech at the end was amazing, given their history. Vivienne was elected Grand Enchanter of the Circle of Magi, but her inauguration was not as triumphant as she had hoped. Those veteran mages of the Inquisition who did not return to the fold formed a new College of Enchanters as a rival organization to her circle. The two institutions settled into an uneasy coexistence across the south, vying for power. Liliana continued to act as the Inquisition spy master in its final months as an independent organization. During this time, she shared many of her responsibilities with her most trusted agents, including Charter, Rector, and Harding. I love that view with all the crows. Many believe that Liliana feared what lay on the horizon and was grooming successors in anticipation of the challenges ahead. With the Inquisition disbanded, Sarah joined the Inquisitor in officially retiring from scaring people in high places, because now we're friends of Red Jenny. By formal account and agreement, both would lead boring, safe lives, nowhere special, doing not much at all. Yeah, right. And with that comforting lie, those in power continued their fragile lives as though all was back to normal. I love how the Inquisitor's hand turned into a crossbow. Do you see that? He now has a crossbow hand. Andy does. Meanwhile, Red Jenny, an entirely separate person, not at all collectively embodied by Sarah, the Inquisitor, and countless friends, continue to make a difference, or just have fun, where and when the impulse struck. Totally different slides for Sarah. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. With frequent visits to her Whittle, of course. Jury's still out on whether or not this is actually Harding or Dagna. Yes, she has the bun, but that could also just be the artist's interpretation of Harding, but who knows. Perhaps the most unnerving was Sarah's standing offer to the Divine. When the knobs pee about with your left hand or right, call on Red Jenny to give them 2 fingers. I have no idea what that means. Of course, I don't really know half of what Sarah says. Varric took up the role of Viscount, and with the help of his friend Hawk, who's still alive, rebuilt Kirkwall's damaged infrastructure. And if you can see, it looks like that's actually Shalbrand's better haircut, and Aveline, who's got a totally different haircut. I don't really like that hair on Aveline. Under his rule, the city-state finally resumed its place as the major trade hub of the Free Marches. He continued to ignore all mail from both the Merchants Guild and the Prince of Starkhaven. But yeah, it's really cool, not noticing before, but it's really cool seeing that, cameo shot of Aveline. With the Inquisition disbanded, the Bull's Chargers returned to taking jobs throughout Orlais and Ferelden. Fighting demons and clearing out the remains of Venatori forces, the Iron Bull did his part to restore order to Thedas. And on every job, Bull wore the necklace his Kadan had given him, so that no matter how far apart life took them, they would always be together. That's sweet. I wanted my marriage with Iron Bull, but that's okay. After the Inquisition disbanded, Cullen retired from active service. Good, he deserves it. That man of everyone deserves a break with his new dog, it looks like. He returned to Ferelden, establishing a sanctuary for former Templars. Oh, good on you, Cullen. On land Divine Victoria granted to him. I heard that if you actually made Cullen continue taking lyrium, it's a little more tragic. With his help, many Templars shed their lyrium addiction, and those whose minds were too far gone spent their last days in comfort. And he promised that, should his friends from the Old Inquisition ever need him, his blade would be ready. I hope your blade will be ready for my third Inquisitor, Cullen. Oh yes. Dorian returned to Tevinter to take his father's place in the Magisterium. I'm wondering if that's his mother. He never really talked much about his mother, I don't think. I don't remember if his mother's alive or not, so I don't know who that is. It could be a sister or another relative. As rumors flew about the Imperium's infighting, Dorian was spoken of often as a voice of a resistance against corruption. along with Magister Maevaris Tilani. Oh, that's Maevaris. He formed a group called the Lucerni to restore and redeem Tevinter, a fight many thought hopeless. Those fighting by Magister Pavas' side noted that he kept in constant communication with the Inquisitor via message crystal, which might be a great way to pull in our Inquisitor to get involved in the next Dragon Age, since it's going to be in Tevinter. Whether for vital information or for moral support, these talks seem to give Dorian the strength to continue his fight. With the Inquisition disbanded, Josephine made her farewells and returned to Antiva and her family. Good on you, Josie. Good on you. She was soon approached by an agent from the House of Repose, whose assassins had been killed by Inquisition agents on Josephine's behalf. Yep, that's something that we did a little differently with this playthrough. Far from being offended, the House of Repose was inquiring as to whether Josephine might have need of their services. Really now? She quickly persuaded them she had no need for assassins, but instead hired them as guards for the Montilier's new trading vessels. Well, that's good. That sounds like a good idea. Ravani pirates looking to rekindle an ancient feud soon learned that the Montilier ships were not lightly boarded, and her house prospered greatly. Good on you, Josie. Cole took to the road with Meriden to find a new life and a new way to be human. That's pretty awesome, I will admit. I do love that. I do love that a lot. Wherever Meriden went to sing, people found old pains eased and hearts made happier, even if they didn't understand why. They do make a very good couple too, I will admit. Meriden with Krem and Meriden with Cole, I kind of like them equally. After the events at the Winter Palace, elves left the Inquisition under mysterious circumstances, as did elven servants across Thedas. If you notice, they didn't have the slides with Blackwall. It would be nice if, even though we didn't see Blackwall come back, they had slides for him anyway. None could say where they went, but those who believed the Inquisitor's story about Fen Harel wondered just how large the Dreadwolf's forces were, and what the ancient elven rebel had planned. Totally different slides, for the most part. And he's plotting with his new offshoot group. I recognize those pants. I recognize those striped purple-green pants anywhere.
My agents have found nothing. With the Illuvians, he could be anywhere.
With the Inquisition officially disbanded, we have no army, no formal alliances.
We have what we truly need.
We will need to be careful.
Solas knows everything about us. Who we are, how we work, our strengths and weaknesses.
Then we find people he doesn't know. We will stop Solas by any means necessary.
Tevinter Imperium. Awesome. So there you have it, guys. That was Andy's playthrough. Again, I tried to make Andy completely different from Art. He made a lot of different choices from Art, and many of his choices probably were not that popular with some of you viewers out there. But again, I wanted to explore different choices with Andy, even if they weren't particularly popular. Not all of his choices were completely opposite of what Art did, because you know, quite often, you know, picking something that completely different from Art just didn't seem like it was in character for Andy, so I didn't pick it. But I am really happy that I got to explore a totally new experience through the eyes of a different Inquisitor. And it was really fun role-playing Andy, because he's... Art, I tried to role-play a lot Art has a lot of aspects of myself in his character, and Andy is just very, very different from me as a person, and he made a lot of choices, many of which I disagreed with. But that's part of the fun of playing through the game a second time, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing the game for a third time for you guys, for those of you who are interested, and maybe even make a few more choices that are completely different from both Andy's and Art's. I have done a decent job, I think, of making myself completely blind to the Cullen romance, which is again the main reason why I'm doing a third roleplay, is to experience once and for all Cullen's romance, because I hear it's amazing. And my prediction is it's probably going to be my favorite one. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching this playthrough, especially if you've already watched through all of Art's playthroughs, because, you know, you're basically watching almost the same content all over again, but not quite. So hopefully those of you who thought that this was a good one to watch even after watching Art's playthrough, hopefully you were still entertained and got something out of it. So yeah, but my Dragon Age Inquisition LPs this one is certainly done, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any left more to go. I still have one more replay left, and this time it's there for a Cullen romance. So if you want to join me on that, I definitely am excited to see you guys. So thank you again for watching, everybody, and until next time, love yourselves, love each other. I'm gonna miss you, Andy. See you, Andy Kadash. You sexy, sexy dwarf rogue, you. Long live the Iron Bandy.